Jake Miller looked out the window of his ship and saw stars he had never seen before. He was the captain of the UES Horizon, Earth's first deep space exploration ship. His crew had been traveling for 6 months to reach the Kepler 442 system. They were the first humans to go this far from home. "Captain, we're picking up something strange on the scanner," said his science officer, Dr. Amy Foster. She was young, but very smart. Jake trusted her completely. "What kind of strange?" Jake asked as he walked over to her station. "There's a structure on the third moon. It's made of metal, but it's not natural. Someone built it," Amy said, pointing at her screen. Jake felt his heart beat faster. This could be the first proof that aliens existed. "How big is it?" "About the size of a football stadium. And, Captain, it's giving off energy readings. Whatever it is, it's still active." Jake thought for a moment. This was why they came out here, to explore and discover new things. "Prep the shuttle. We're going down to take a look." 2 hours later, Jake and his team landed near the alien structure. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The metal was dark blue and seemed to shimmer in the moonlight. Strange symbols covered the walls. "The air is breathable," said Dr. Foster, checking her instruments. "But barely. We should keep our helmets on." The team included Jake, Amy, Engineer Lucas Grant, and Security Chief Ben Clark. They walked carefully toward what looked like an entrance. The door was huge, at least 20 feet tall. "There's some kind of mechanism here," Lucas said, running his hands over the symbols. "I think this might open it." Before Jake could stop him, Lucas pressed one of the symbols. The door made a deep humming sound and slowly opened. Cold air rushed out, carrying a smell like metal and electricity. "Stay close together," Jake ordered. They turned on their lights and walked inside. The inside was even more amazing than the outside. The ceiling was very high, and strange machines lined the walls. Everything looked ancient but well-preserved. Their footsteps echoed in the empty space. "Captain, I'm reading life signs," Ben said, looking at his scanner with worry. "Something big is moving deeper in the structure." They moved forward carefully. The corridor led to a large circular room. In the center was a pod made of the same blue metal. It was glowing softly, and something was moving inside. "Should we leave?" Amy whispered. Before Jake could answer, the pod opened with a loud hiss. Steam poured out, and then something stepped into the light. It was tall, at least, 8 feet with gray skin and 4 arms. Its eyes were black and cold. It looked at the humans like they were insects. "Who dares to wake Zexathera from his sleep?" the creature said in perfect English. Its voice was deep and filled with anger. Jake stepped forward, trying to look brave, even though he was scared. "I'm Captain Jake Miller of Earth. We're explorers. We didn't mean to disturb you." Zexathera laughed, but it was not a happy sound. "Earth? You are the primitive creatures from that small blue world? How did you insects learn to travel between stars?" "We're not insects," Jake said firmly. "We're humans, and we come in peace." "Peace?" Zexathera's eyes glowed red. "Your kind is nothing but vermin. I have slept for thousands of your years, waiting for the galaxy to forget the mighty Vorthek Empire. I will not let primitive creatures like you spread through space." The alien raised one of its 4 arms, and energy began to glow around its fingers. Jake realized they were in serious danger. "Run!" he shouted to his team. Zexathera fired a beam of red energy that barely missed Jake's head. The beam hit the wall behind him and melted a hole through the metal. The humans scattered, looking for cover behind the ancient machines. "He's too strong!" Ben shouted, firing his plasma rifle at the alien. The shots hit Zexthara but barely seemed to hurt him. Jake thought quickly. They couldn't fight this creature in a fair fight, but maybe they didn't have to. He noticed that some of the machines around the room were connected to the pod where Zexthara had been sleeping. "Lucas, can you overload those machines?" Jake called out. Lucas understood immediately. While Ben and Amy kept Zexthara busy with their weapons, Lucas ran to the control panels. His fingers moved quickly over the alien controls. "I think I've got it!" Lucas shouted. "But it's going to cause an explosion!" "Do it!" Jake ordered. Lucas pressed several buttons at once. The machines began to spark and smoke. Zexthara realized what was happening and turned toward Lucas with rage in his eyes. Jake saw his chance. He aimed his plasma rifle carefully and fired at full power. The shot hit Zexthara in the shoulder, spinning the alien around. Dark blood sprayed from the wound. Zexthara roared in pain and anger. He had never been hurt by such primitive weapons before. "You will pay for this, human. I will remember your face, Jake Miller. When I return, I will destroy your entire species." The machines exploded in a shower of sparks. The room filled with smoke and the sound of breaking metal. When the smoke cleared, Zexthara was gone. Only drops of his dark blood remained on the floor. The team ran back to their shuttle as the alien structure began to collapse behind them. They barely made it to safety before the entire building fell down. Back on the ship, Jake stood on the bridge and looked at the ruined structure on the moon below. Amy walked up beside him. "Do you think he's really gone?" she asked. Jake shook his head. "No, he's out there somewhere and he's angry. We need to warn Earth. We need to prepare." "Prepare for what?" Jake thought about the alien's cold eyes and his promise of revenge. "For war. That creature won't forget what happened here. He'll be back, and when he comes, he'll bring friends." As the UES horizon turned toward home, Jake made a decision. Earth had to be ready. Humanity had just made its first enemy among the stars, and it was a dangerous one. The next 50 years would determine whether humans would survive as a species, or be wiped out by an angry alien seeking revenge. The journey home would take 6 months, but Jake knew that would only be the beginning. The real work would start when they reached Earth and had to convince the world that aliens existed and one of them wanted humanity dead. But Jake Miller was not the kind of man who gave up easily. If Zexthara wanted a fight, humanity would give him one he would never forget. 50 years had passed since Jake Miller first met Zexthara. Jake was now an old man with gray hair and wrinkles, but his eyes still burned with determination. He stood in his office at the Terran Defense Coalition headquarters, looking at pictures of space stations and weapons that didn't exist when he was young. The world had changed completely after his crew returned with news of the alien threat. At first, many people didn't believe them. But Jake had proof. Samples of alien metal, recordings of Zexthara's voice, and the dark blood they found in the ruined structure. Scientists studied everything and confirmed it was not from Earth. Fear spread quickly around the world. If hostile aliens existed, Earth needed to be ready. Countries that had been enemies for centuries suddenly became allies. The Terran Defense Coalition was formed within 5 years of Jake's return. Every nation on Earth contributed money, resources, and their best people to prepare for the aliens' return. Dr. Amy Foster, now much older but still brilliant, had become the head of Earth's genetic research program. She worked in a huge laboratory complex in Switzerland, surrounded by the most advanced equipment humanity had ever built. "The tests are going better than we hoped," Amy told Jake during their weekly meeting. "We've successfully enhanced human strength by 300%. The new soldiers can lift a car with their bare hands." Jake nodded as he looked at the test results on his tablet. "What about speed and reaction time?" "Even better. Enhanced humans can move twice as fast as normal people and react to threats in half the time. But Jake, we're just getting started. I think we can do much more." In another part of the Coalition headquarters, engineer Lucas Grant ran the weapons development program. The garage where he used to fix cars had been replaced by massive factories that built ships and weapons. Lucas had gray hair now, too, but he still loved building things. "The new plasma rifles are 10 times more powerful than what we had 50 years ago," Lucas explained to Jake as they walked through the weapons testing facility. "And look at this." Lucas picked up a small device that looked like a metal bracelet. "Personal energy shields. They can stop most energy weapons for at least 10 minutes. Every soldier will have one." But the most amazing changes were happening to humans themselves. Jake's daughter, Lisa Miller, had volunteered for the enhancement program when she turned 25. Now, 30 years old, she was faster, stronger, and smarter than any human in history. Lisa could run 50 miles per hour and jump over buildings. Her brain processed information so quickly that she could read an entire book in 10 minutes and remember every word. She had become the perfect soldier, and she wasn't alone. Thousands of volunteers had joined the enhancement program. Some chose physical improvements, like Lisa. Others, like test pilot Ryan Cooper, chose cybernetic implants that let them control ships with their thoughts. Ryan could fly 3 fighter ships at the same time, his mind connected to all of them through neural links. "The line between human and machine is disappearing," Dr. Foster explained to Jake one day. "Ryan's brain is still human, but 40% of his body is now cybernetic. He's stronger than our enhanced soldiers and faster than our best computers." Some humans went even further. Researcher Kate Adams had volunteered for genetic modifications that changed her DNA completely. She could now communicate with other enhanced humans without speaking, sharing thoughts and emotions directly from mind to mind. "It's like having a conversation inside your head," Kate explained to Jake during a demonstration. "Watch this," Kate looked at another enhanced researcher across the room. Without saying a word, the other researcher walked over and handed Kate a specific tool she needed. "We read each other's thoughts?" Jake asked, amazed. "Not exactly. We share intentions and feelings. It makes us incredibly efficient as a team. Enhanced humans working together can solve problems in minutes that would take normal humans hours." The space program had grown beyond anything Jake imagined possible. Earth now had colonies on Mars, Europa, and 12 other worlds. Massive space stations guarded every approach to Earth. The largest, Armstrong Station, was home to 50,000 people and had weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Commander Lisa Miller often visited her father at headquarters. She looked mostly human, but Jake could see the subtle differences. Her eyes moved too quickly, tracking multiple conversations at once. Her reflexes were so fast that she sometimes caught falling objects before they seemed to start falling. "We're not the same species you saved 50 years ago, Dad," Lisa said during one of their dinners together. "The question is whether we're still human enough to be worth saving." Jake thought about this often. In the old days, humans were weak and slow compared to most animals. They survived by being smart and working together. Now, enhanced humans were becoming something new. Stronger than any animal, faster than any machine, and connected to each other in ways that seemed almost magical. Ben Clark, Jake's old security chief, now ran the military training programs. He was one of the few people who chose to remain completely human, with no enhancements at all. "Sometimes I feel like I'm training a different species," Ben told Jake honestly. "These enhanced soldiers can do things that seem impossible. But they still listen to orders, and they still care about protecting Earth. That has to count for something. The enhanced humans weren't just soldiers. Enhanced scientists made discoveries every day that advanced human knowledge by decades. Enhanced engineers built ships and weapons that seemed like magic. Enhanced doctors could heal injuries in hours that would have taken months to recover from in the old days. But there were also problems. Some enhanced humans began to think they were better than normal humans. A few believed that unenhanced people were holding humanity back. Small conflicts broke out between enhanced and normal communities. Jake worked hard to keep humanity united. He gave speeches reminding people that they were all human, regardless of their enhancements. He made sure that enhanced and normal humans worked together on every important project. "We changed ourselves to survive," Jake told the World Council during one of his speeches. "But we must never forget who we were and what we're fighting to protect. If we lose our humanity while gaining these powers, then Zexathara has already won." As the 50th anniversary of First Contact approached, strange energy readings began appearing at the edge of the solar system. Jake's scientists detected massive objects moving through space toward Earth. "He's coming back," Jake told Lisa, as they stood in the Coalition Command Center, looking at the sensor readings. Lisa's enhanced eyes processed the data faster than the computers. "Let him come. We're not the helpless creatures he left behind." Jake smiled proudly at his daughter. She was right. Humanity had evolved far beyond what Zexathara could imagine. The alien was returning for revenge against a species that no longer existed. In its place stood something new, something that had learned from 50 years of preparation. The real question wasn't whether humanity could survive Zexathara's return. The question was whether Zexathara could survive what humanity had become. Dr. Amy Foster stood in her laboratory watching something that should have been impossible. A volunteer named Marcus Webb was lifting a 10-ton block of steel with one hand while solving complex math problems in his head. 6 months ago, Marcus had been a normal construction worker. Now he was something entirely different. "How do you feel, Marcus?" Amy asked, making notes on her tablet. Marcus set down the steel block gently, even though it weighed as much as a truck. "I feel incredible, Dr. Foster. It's like my body was always supposed to be this strong, and I was just using it wrong before." Amy smiled, but she was also worried. The genetic enhancement program had succeeded beyond their wildest dreams, but each success raised new questions about what humanity was becoming. Marcus was part of the third generation of enhanced humans. The first generation, like Lisa Miller, had been improved versions of normal humans, stronger, faster, and smarter, but still recognizably human. The second generation had added cybernetic implants and basic genetic modifications. But the third generation was different. They weren't just enhanced humans anymore, they were something new. "The changes go deeper than physical improvements," Amy explained to Jake Miller during their morning briefing. "Third-generation enhanced humans have different brain structures. They process information in ways we've never seen before." She showed Jake brain scans on her computer. "Look at this. A normal human brain uses about 10% of its capacity at any given time. Enhanced humans use 30%, but third-generation enhanced humans seem to use their entire brain all the time." Jake studied the scans with fascination and concern. "What does that mean for their personality?" Are they still human inside? That's what we're trying to figure out, Amy said honestly. They claim to feel more human than ever, but their way of thinking is completely different from ours. In another part of the research facility, tech specialist Ben Clark worked with a volunteer named Carla Santos. Carla had been one of the first people to receive neural interface implants, but her enhancements had evolved far beyond what anyone expected. "Show him the network connection," Ben said to Carla. Carla nodded and closed her eyes. Around the room, dozens of computer screens lit up at once. Data flowed across them at incredible speed. Weather patterns, stock market information, scientific research, and news from around the world. "I'm not just accessing the computers," Carla explained to Jake, who had come to observe. "I'm part of the network now. Every enhanced human with neural implants is connected. We share information instantly across the entire planet." Jake watched in amazement as Carla answered questions she couldn't possibly know the answers to. When he asked about grain production in Australia, she immediately knew the exact numbers because another enhanced human in Sydney was sharing the information with her. "How many of you are connected like this?" Jake asked. "All of us," Carla said simply. "About 15,000 enhanced humans are part of the network. We're like individual brain cells in a larger mind." This worried Jake more than anything else. If enhanced humans could share thoughts and information instantly, were they still individuals? Or were they becoming something like a hive mind? He discussed his concerns with Ryan Cooper, the test pilot who had been one of the first to receive major cybernetic enhancements. Ryan's body was now more machine than flesh, but his personality seemed unchanged. "I understand your worry," Ryan said as they walked through the flight testing facility, "but we're not losing our individuality. We're gaining the ability to work together in ways normal humans never could." Ryan showed Jake his latest project, a squadron of fighter ships that moved together like a flock of birds. "I'm not controlling these ships individually. I'm thinking of the squadron as a single unit, and each ship responds as part of that unit. The ships dance through the air in perfect formation, performing maneuvers that would have been impossible for human pilots. They moved as one mind controlling multiple bodies. It's like the difference between a jazz band and a symphony orchestra," Ryan explained. "Individual musicians are great, but when they work together perfectly, they create something much more beautiful." But perhaps the most dramatic changes were happening to volunteers like Kate Adams. Kate's genetic modifications had altered her DNA so extensively that she was barely human in any biological sense. Kate could change her physical appearance at will, shifting her height, hair color, and even her facial features. She could survive in environments that would kill normal humans. Underwater, in extreme heat or cold, even in the vacuum of space for short periods. "The modifications allow my cells to adapt to any environment," Kate explained to Jake during a demonstration. She placed her hand in a container of liquid nitrogen that would instantly freeze normal flesh. Her hand turned blue and crystalline, but she felt no pain. "How do you maintain your humanity when your body can become anything?" Jake asked. Kate thought about this carefully. "I think humanity isn't about what our bodies can do. It's about what we choose to do with our abilities. I'm still Kate Adams inside, no matter what I look like on the outside." The enhanced humans were developing abilities that seemed magical to normal people. Some could communicate through quantum entanglement across vast distances. Others could process information so quickly that they seemed to predict the future. Volunteer named Steve Park had modifications that let him see electromagnetic fields and energy patterns invisible to normal eyes. He could track the movement of electrons through computer circuits and watch radio waves passing through the air. The universe is full of information that normal humans can't perceive, Steve explained to Jake. I can see the energy signatures of different technologies, even from very far away. If an alien ship enters our solar system, I'll know about it long before our sensors detect it. Amy Foster worried that humanity was changing too quickly. We're evolving in 50 years what should take 50,000 years, she told Jake. We don't know what the long-term effects will be. But Jake's daughter Lisa argued that rapid evolution was exactly what humanity needed. Zexathera and his people had thousands of years to develop their technology and abilities, Lisa said. We have to compress that development into decades, or we'll never be able to defend ourselves. Lisa herself had continued to evolve. Her latest enhancements allowed her to process information from multiple sources simultaneously while performing complex physical tasks. She could command entire battalions of soldiers while flying a fighter ship and solving scientific problems all at the same time. The enhanced humans aren't replacing normal humans, Lisa assured her father. We're becoming the tools that normal humans need to survive in a hostile galaxy. Jake watched as enhanced and normal humans worked together on various projects. Enhanced humans provided incredible abilities, but normal humans provided something equally important: perspective and wisdom that came from experiencing limitations. Dr. Foster's research showed that enhanced humans performed best when working with normal humans. The enhanced provided raw capability, while the normal humans provided creativity and emotional intelligence that couldn't be programmed or genetically modified. Maybe that's the answer, Jake told Amy one evening as they watched the sunset from the research facility. We don't have to choose between being human or being enhanced. We can be both. Amy nodded thoughtfully. A symbiotic species, enhanced and normal humans working together, each contributing what they do best. As the months passed, reports began coming in from the edge of the solar system. Strange energy readings were detected by enhanced humans, with modified senses long before conventional sensors could pick them up. Something big is coming, Steve Park reported to the Coalition Command Center. The energy patterns are unlike anything we've seen before, but they're definitely artificial, and they're moving toward Earth. Jake felt his heart rate increase. After 50 years of preparation, Zexathera was finally returning. But humanity was no longer the species he had threatened to destroy. The question now was whether the alien would recognize what humans had become before it was too late for him to escape. Enhanced humans across the planet began to coordinate through their neural networks. Normal humans took their positions at command centers and strategic locations. After 5 decades of evolution and preparation, humanity was ready to show the galaxy what they could accomplish when their survival was threatened. The real test was about to begin. Alex Turner floated in the cockpit of his scout ship at the very edge of the solar system, farther from Earth than any human had ever traveled before. His enhanced eyes could see things that normal humans couldn't even imagine. Energy patterns, flowing through space like invisible rivers. "Command, this is Scout 7. Alex spoke into his radio. "I'm picking up massive gravitational distortions at coordinates 247-891. Something really big is coming through hyperspace." Back on Earth, Commander Lisa Miller received the transmission in the Coalition Command Center. Her enhanced brain processed Alex's report along with data from 50 other scouts positioned around the solar system. The pattern was clear and terrifying. Dad, you need to see this, Lisa called to Jake Miller, who was reviewing defense plans at a nearby station. Jake walked over to Lisa's command console where holographic displays showed the outer solar system. Red dots marked the locations where scouts were detecting energy signatures. They're not coming from one direction, Lisa explained, her finger tracing the pattern on the display. The signatures are appearing all around the solar system. Whatever's coming, it's huge and it's surrounding us. Jake studied the display with growing concern. After 50 years of preparation, he had expected Zexathera to return, but this was bigger than anything they had planned for. How many ships are we talking about? Based on the energy readings, at least 1,000 vessels, Lisa replied. Maybe more, and they're all converging on Earth. In his scout ship, Alex Turner used his enhanced senses to peer deeper into space. The modifications to his eyes allowed him to see across multiple wavelengths of light, revealing details that instruments couldn't detect. "Command, you're not going to believe this," Alex transmitted, his voice filled with amazement and fear. "I can see them now. The ships are massive. Some of them are larger than our biggest space stations. And they're all the same design as that structure Dad found 50 years ago." Dr. Amy Foster was working in her laboratory when the alert came through the neural network shared by all enhanced humans. Carla Santos, connected to the network, instantly relayed the information to every enhanced person on Earth. "We have confirmation," Amy announced to her research team. "The Vorthak Empire has returned in force. All enhancement protocols are now active." Around the planet, enhanced humans began coordinating their response. The network that connected their minds allowed them to function as a single, vast intelligence while still maintaining their individual personalities. Ryan Cooper was leading a flight test when the information reached him through his neural implants. Without missing a beat, he redirected his squadron toward the nearest military base. "All pilots, return to base immediately," Ryan broadcast. "This is not a drill. Enhanced Flight Protocol 7 is now in effect." His cybernetic body allowed him to control not just his own fighter, but coordinate the movements of his entire squadron through direct mental connection. The ships moved together like parts of a single organism. Steve Park, the enhanced human who could see electromagnetic fields, was stationed at the primary sensor array on Luna Base. His modified vision allowed him to detect alien technology long before conventional sensors could track it. "I'm seeing energy patterns I've never encountered before," Steve reported to Luna Base Command. "The alien ships use some kind of quantum field generator that bends space around them. It's how they stayed hidden until now." Kate Adams, whose genetic modifications allowed her to survive in any environment, was already suiting up for potential space combat. Her body could adapt to the vacuum of space, radiation exposure, and extreme temperatures. "If they're planning to board our stations, they'll find us harder to kill than they expect," Kate told her team as they prepared for battle. On Mars Colony, enhanced and normal humans worked together to activate the planet's defense systems. The Red Planet had been transformed into a fortress world over the past 50 years, with weapons hidden beneath its surface. Colony Commander Sam Brooks, an enhanced human with exceptional tracking abilities, coordinated the activation of Mars's defensive grid. All surface batteries online. Enhanced targeting systems activated. We're ready for whatever they throw at us. But it was the normal humans who provided crucial perspective during the crisis. While enhanced humans could process information and coordinate responses at superhuman speed, unenhanced people like Ben Clark brought wisdom and strategic thinking to the situation. "Don't assume they're here for a straight fight," Ben warned during an emergency command meeting. "Zexathara is smart. He's had 50 years to think about what went wrong last time. He won't make the same mistakes." Jake Miller stood at the center of the command center, watching as reports flowed in from across the solar system. Enhanced humans provided real-time intelligence, while normal humans analyzed strategies and made crucial decisions. "They're taking their time," Jake observed. "If they wanted to attack immediately, they would have done it already. Zexthara is studying us, trying to figure out what's changed." Lisa nodded, her enhanced processing speed allowing her to track hundreds of variables simultaneously. "Our energy signatures are completely different from 50 years ago. He's probably confused about what he's seeing." In orbit around Jupiter, enhanced sensor operator Maria Santos detected something that made her enhanced blood run cold. Her genetic modifications allowed her to perceive energy patterns across vast distances. "Command, I'm reading a massive energy buildup near the alien flagship," Maria transmitted. "It's unlike anything in our databases. I think they're charging some kind of superweapon." The information flowed instantly through the enhanced human network to every connected mind on Earth. Within seconds, every enhanced person in the solar system knew about the potential threat. Amy Foster analyzed the energy readings through her enhanced intellect. "The power levels are enormous," she reported to Jake. "If that's a weapon, it could destroy entire planets." But enhanced humans weren't just responding with fear. Their modifications allowed them to think beyond normal human limitations. Marcus Webb, the construction worker turned super soldier, proposed a solution that normal humans couldn't have considered. "What if we use the quantum entanglement network to disrupt their weapon?" Marcus suggested through the neural link. "If we can coordinate a synchronized electromagnetic pulse from all our enhanced people at once, we might be able to interfere with their systems." The idea spread through the network instantly. 15,000 enhanced humans began calculating the precise timing and power levels needed for such an attack. The coordination required would have been impossible for normal humans, but the neural network made it feasible. Jake watched in amazement as enhanced humans across the solar system began preparing for Marcus's plan. They were acting as a single organism with thousands of parts, each contributing their unique abilities to the whole. "Are you sure this will work?" Jake asked Lisa. "We won't know until we try," Lisa replied. "But that's what makes us human. We adapt and try new solutions even when we don't know if they'll work." As the alien fleet continued to approach Earth, both enhanced and normal humans prepared for the confrontation that would determine the future of their species. 50 years of evolution and preparation had led to this moment. Zexthara had returned, seeking revenge against the primitive creatures who had wounded him decades ago. Instead, he was about to encounter something that had never existed before in the galaxy, a species that had deliberately evolved beyond its natural limitations in order to survive. The enhanced humans were ready to show their abilities. The normal humans were ready to provide the wisdom and strategy that no amount of enhancement could replace. Together, they represented something new in the universe. A civilization that could change itself as quickly as it could change its technology. The real question was whether Zexthara would recognize the magnitude of his mistake before it was too late. Zexthara stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds, looking at Earth through the view screen. The small blue planet looked exactly the same as it had 50 years ago, but his sensors were telling him something that made no sense. "Commander, the energy readings from the human homeworld are impossible," his science officer reported, fear clear in his voice. "Their technology appears to have advanced by thousands of years since our last encounter." Zexthara's arms tensed with anger. "Impossible. These creatures were barely capable of space travel 50 years ago. Check your instruments." I have checked them 17 times, Commander. The readings are accurate. The humans have somehow achieved technological advancement that should have taken millennia. On Earth, Jake Miller stood in the Coalition Command Center watching the alien fleet take position around their planet. 1,000 massive warships surrounded Earth like predators circling their prey. But Jake wasn't afraid. He was proud. "All stations report ready, Dad," Lisa Miller announced from her command station. Her enhanced brain was simultaneously coordinating with every military unit in the solar system while tracking the movement of individual alien ships. "Enhanced human network is fully active," reported Carla Santos, her neural implants glowing softly as information flowed through her mind at the speed of light. 15,000 enhanced individuals are connected and ready to act as one. Jake nodded and opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. After 50 years, it was time to talk to his old enemy again. "This is Admiral Jake Miller of the Terran Defense Coalition." Jake spoke clearly into the transmitter. "Zexathara, I know you can hear me. You've come a long way for revenge." The response came quickly, and Zexathara's voice was filled with the same cold hatred Jake remembered. "Jake Miller, you still live, human insect. Good. I wanted you to watch as I destroy your pathetic species." "You're welcome to try," Jake replied, calmly. "But you might want to scan our defenses first. We've made some improvements since you left." Zexathara's confidence began to waver as his ship's sensors provided more detailed readings of Earth's defensive capabilities. The energy signatures from human weapons were unlike anything in Vorthak databases. "This is not possible," Zexathara muttered to himself. "No species evolves this quickly." "Begin the attack," he ordered his fleet. "Destroy their orbital installations. First, then reduce the planet to ash." The first wave of alien ships moved toward Earth's defense platforms, their weapons charged with deadly energy, ready to unleash destruction on a scale that had wiped out dozens of civilizations across the galaxy. But they never got the chance to fire. General Matt Stone commanded the defense of Armstrong Station, Earth's largest orbital platform. His genetic enhancements allowed him to process tactical information faster than any computer, while his cybernetic implants connected him directly to the station's weapon systems. "All batteries, target the lead ships," Matt commanded, his enhanced reflexes letting him track multiple targets simultaneously. "Fire on my mark." The defense platforms around Earth opened fire with weapons that made the old plasma rifles look like toys. Beams of pure energy, more focused and powerful than anything humans had possessed 50 years ago, struck the alien ships with devastating accuracy. The first 3 Vorthak warships exploded instantly, their shields useless against human weapons that operated on entirely new principles of physics. "Impossible!" Zexathara roared from his flagship. "How do they have such powerful weapons?" His answer came in the form of Captain Nick Hayes, leading a squadron of enhanced human fighters. Nick's body was more cybernetic than flesh, allowing him to pilot his ship with thought alone, while coordinating with dozens of other enhanced pilots through the neural network. "This is Lightning Squadron," Nick transmitted to his wing. "Show them what evolution looks like." The human fighters moved like nothing Zexathara had ever seen. They changed direction instantly, accelerated beyond what should have been possible, and worked together with perfect coordination. It was like fighting a single enemy with 100 bodies. Nick's squadron destroyed 12 alien ships in the first minute of combat. The enhanced pilots could react to threats before they fully materialized, their modified brains processing battle information at superhuman speeds. "They're predicting our moves," one of Zexathara's ship commanders reported in panic. It's like they know what we're going to do before we do it. Ryan Cooper led another squadron of fighters that demonstrated even more impossible abilities. His cybernetic enhancements allowed him to control multiple ships simultaneously. His consciousness spread across an entire wing of fighters. "Engaging enemy formation Delta 7, Ryan announced as his squadron attacked a group of alien destroyers. But it wasn't really a squadron. It was Ryan himself, his mind controlling 20 ships as if they were extensions of his own body. The alien ships tried to engage the human fighters individually, but found themselves fighting an opponent that seemed to be everywhere at once. Ryan's distributed consciousness allowed him to attack from multiple angles simultaneously while defending against threats that no single pilot could have handled. Back on Earth, the enhanced human network was operating at full capacity. Steve Park, whose enhanced vision could see electromagnetic fields, provided real-time intelligence on alien weapons and shields. "Their shield generators operate on a rotating frequency," Steve reported through the network. "I can see the pattern. Transmitting optimal targeting data now." Instantly, every enhanced human in the battle received the information. Human weapons began hitting alien ships at the exact moments when their shields were weakest, causing massive damage with each shot. Kate Adams led a boarding party that demonstrated just how much humans had changed physically. When alien Marines tried to board Armstrong Station, they found themselves fighting opponents who could adapt to any environment and threat. Kate's body shifted and changed as she fought, becoming harder than steel when struck, faster than lightning when she needed to dodge, and strong enough to tear through alien armor with her bare hands. "What are these creatures?" One alien Marine screamed as Kate's hand passed through his energy shield like it wasn't there. "We're what you made us," Kate replied, her voice calm even as she fought multiple enemies at once. "You taught us that the galaxy was dangerous. We learned." Marcus Webb led ground forces that were equally impossible for the aliens to understand. His enhanced strength allowed him to carry weapons that normal humans couldn't even lift, while his modified reflexes let him dodge energy blasts that moved at the speed of light. "Alien landing party in Sector 7, Marcus reported as he single-handedly destroyed an alien tank by lifting it over his head and throwing it into its companions. "Resistance is minimal." Zexathara watched in growing horror as his invasion force was systematically destroyed by opponents who seemed to break every rule of biology and physics he knew. "How many of them are enhanced?" he demanded of his science officer. "Unknown, Commander, but based on their coordination and abilities, it appears that their entire military consists of these evolved humans." "Evolved?" Zexthara's voice was filled with disbelief. "Species don't evolve in 50 years. It's impossible." "Apparently not for humans," the science officer replied quietly. As the battle continued, it became clear that the aliens were not fighting a war. They were being hunted. Enhanced humans moved through space like they owned it, their abilities so far beyond normal biological limits that they seemed magical. But perhaps most disturbing for Zexthara was the realization that the enhanced humans were not fighting with hatred or fear. They were calm, efficient, and almost gentle in their overwhelming superiority. "Fall back!" Zexathara finally ordered his remaining ships. "Retreat to minimum safe distance." But as his fleet tried to withdraw, they discovered that enhanced humans could track them across vast distances. Alex Turner, the scout whose enhanced senses could detect energy patterns from light years away, provided targeting data for weapons that could strike enemies far beyond the range of conventional sensors. "You cannot run from us, Zexthera, Jake." Miller's voice came over the communication channel. "We know where you are, and we can reach you anywhere in this solar system." For the first time in his long life, Zexthera understood what it felt like to be prey instead of predator. The humans he had dismissed as insects 50 years ago had become something that even the mighty Vorthak Empire had never imagined possible. "What have you become?" Zexthera whispered, more to himself than to the humans. Jake Miller's answer was simple and terrifying. "We became what we needed to become to survive. The question now is whether you'll be smart enough to do the same." Zexthera's fleet was running, and that was something the proud Vorthak commander had never experienced before. His massive ships, designed to conquer entire solar systems, were fleeing from a species he had once considered barely worthy of notice. "Status. Report!" Zexthera demanded as his flagship limped away from Earth, its hull scarred by human weapons that seemed to ignore Vorthak defenses. "We've lost 300 ships, Commander," his tactical officer reported, his voice shaking. "The humans are pursuing us with vessels that are somehow faster than ours, despite being much smaller." Zexthera looked at the tactical display and saw something that chilled him to his core. Dozens of human ships were following his fleet, moving through space in perfect formation, but these weren't the crude vessels he remembered from 50 years ago. Admiral Lisa Miller commanded the pursuit fleet from the bridge of the TDF Evolution, a ship that represented everything humanity had learned about war and technology. Her enhanced mind could process tactical information from hundreds of sources simultaneously, while her cybernetic implants allowed her to control the ship's systems with thought alone. "Maintain pursuit formation," Lisa commanded her fleet. "Don't let any of them escape to warn the rest of their empire." The human ships moved through space like a pack of wolves hunting deer. Each vessel was crewed by enhanced humans whose abilities turned space combat into an art form. They could predict enemy movements, coordinate attacks without communication, and adapt to any situation faster than their opponents could react. Sam Brooks, the enhanced human with exceptional tracking abilities, was aboard the pursuit ship TDF, Hunter. His genetic modifications allowed him to follow energy trails through space that were invisible to normal sensors. "I can track their hyperspace jumps," Sam reported to Lisa through the neural network. "Their engines leave quantum signatures that I can follow across light years. No matter where they go, we can find them." This was exactly what Zexthera feared most. His science officer had just confirmed that the human ships could somehow track Vorthak vessels through hyperspace, an ability that no known technology should have made possible. "How are they following us?" Zexthera demanded. "Our hyperspace drives leave no trail that any sensor can detect." "Unknown, Commander, but they are definitely tracking us. Every time we change course, they adjust their pursuit vector immediately." Ryan, Cooper piloted his fighter squadron alongside the main fleet, his cybernetic consciousness distributed across multiple ships simultaneously. His enhanced awareness allowed him to perceive the battle from dozens of viewpoints at once. The alien. "Commander is smart," Ryan reported through the network. "He's trying to lead us away from populated systems so we can't use them for cover. But he doesn't realize that we don't need cover anymore." The human pursuit fleet was indeed different from anything that had ever existed in the galaxy. Normal, space fleets required supply lines, reinforcements, and safe harbors. But enhanced humans could survive in space indefinitely, their modified bodies requiring minimal resources. Kate Adams was aboard one of the pursuit ships, her genetic modifications allowing her to survive in the vacuum of space if necessary. She could adapt to any environment, making her the perfect soldier for deep space operations. "If they try to strand us in empty space, it won't work," Kate told her crew. "We can follow them to the edge of the galaxy if necessary." Zexathara's fleet tried every trick he knew to lose their pursuers. They jumped through asteroid fields where normal ships would be destroyed, hid behind gas giants where sensors couldn't penetrate, and even attempted to use stellar phenomena to mask their energy signatures. Nothing worked. The enhanced humans found them every time. "Their abilities are beyond anything in our databases," Zexathara's science officer reported after their 7th failed attempt to lose the human fleet. "It's like they can see through space and time itself." Marcus Webb was aboard the TDF Strength, leading a boarding party of enhanced soldiers. His superhuman strength and speed made him ideal for ship-to-ship combat, and his modified reflexes allowed him to fight in zero gravity as easily as on a planet's surface. "If we can capture one of their ships intact, we might learn more about their technology," Marcus suggested through the network. Lisa considered the proposal through her enhanced tactical analysis systems. "Approved. Target the trailing destroyer. Disable, but don't destroy." The human fleet moved with precision that seemed impossible for individual ships. They were operating as a single organism with multiple parts, each ship knowing exactly what the others were doing without needing communication. Zexathara watched in horror as his rear destroyer was systematically disabled by human weapons that seemed to know exactly where to strike. The ship's engines failed, its weapons powered down, and its life support systems were damaged just enough to force the crew to surrender without killing them. "They're taking prisoners," Zexathara realized, with growing dread. "They want to learn about us." Within hours, Marcus Webb and his enhanced soldiers had boarded the disabled alien ship. What they found there shocked even the enhanced humans who thought they had seen everything. "The alien crew is terrified," Marcus reported through the network. "But not just of us. They're afraid of something else, something they call the ancient enemy. Zexathara isn't just here for revenge, he's running from something." This information flowed instantly through the enhanced human network to every connected mind. Dr. Amy Foster, monitoring the pursuit from Earth, analyzed the implications immediately. "If there's something that scares the Vorthak Empire, we need to know what it is," Amy told Jake Miller. "This could change everything about our situation." Jake nodded grimly. "Get whatever information you can from the prisoners, but don't let it stop the pursuit. Zexathara is still our primary threat." Meanwhile, the chase continued across the solar system and beyond. Zexathara's fleet was being slowly picked apart by human forces that seemed to operate beyond the normal laws of physics and biology. Steve Park, whose enhanced vision could see electromagnetic fields across vast distances, provided constant intelligence. Updates on alien ship status and capabilities. "Their ships are breaking down," Steve reported. "The stress of running constant evasive maneuvers is causing system failures across their fleet. They can't keep this up much longer." Nick Hayes led fighter squadrons that harassed the alien fleet constantly, never giving them a moment to rest or repair. His enhanced pilots could fight for days without fatigue, their modified bodies requiring minimal rest. Every time they try to stop for repairs, we hit them again, Nick reported. "Their crews are exhausted, but we're just getting started." Carla Santos, connected to the enhanced human network, coordinated the entire pursuit operation through pure thought. Information flowed between ships at the speed of light, allowing the human fleet to respond to threats and opportunities faster than any normal military force could manage. "The aliens are starting to make mistakes," Carla observed. Their formation is breaking down, and some ships are falling behind the main group. Lisa Miller made the tactical decision that would define the next phase of the hunt. Split the fleet. Surround them and force them toward the outer system. Don't let any ship escape. The human fleet divided into multiple groups that moved to encircle the fleeing aliens. Each group was perfectly coordinated with the others, creating a net of ships that tightened around Zexathara's forces like a trap. For the first time in his long military career, Zexathara found himself completely outmaneuvered by an enemy that seemed to think faster than he could react. The humans weren't just pursuing him. They were herding him toward a destination of their choosing. "Commander, we're being forced toward the edge of the system," his navigator reported. "If we continue on this course, we'll be trapped between human forces and empty space." Zexathara studied the tactical display and realized the terrible truth. The humans weren't just hunting his fleet, they were hunting him personally. This wasn't about conquest or territory. It was about removing him as a threat permanently. "They don't want prisoners," he said quietly. "They want to end this once and for all." The enhanced humans had indeed decided that Zexathara was too dangerous to allow to escape. His knowledge of human capabilities could be used to develop countermeasures, and his hatred would only grow stronger with time. As the hunt continued into the darkness beyond the solar system, it became clear that this was no longer a battle between two military forces. It was a pursuit between predator and prey, with roles that had been completely reversed from 50 years ago. The aliens who had once threatened to destroy humanity were now running for their lives from creatures that had evolved beyond their worst nightmares. And in the cold depths of space there was nowhere left to hide. The ruins of the Vorthak homeworld floated in space like a graveyard of broken dreams. Once, this planet had been the center of a mighty empire that ruled thousands of star systems. Now it was nothing but rubble and twisted metal, destroyed by the very force that Zexathara had been running from. "So this is what you were really afraid of," Admiral Lisa Miller said, as her fleet emerged from hyperspace around the dead world. Her enhanced senses could detect the residual energy patterns from whatever had destroyed this place. Zexathara's remaining ships, less than 200 now, hung in space near the largest piece of debris that had once been his homeworld's capital city. He had nowhere left to run. His empire was gone, his fleet was broken, and the humans had followed him across the galaxy. "End of the line, Zexathara," Jake Miller's voice came through the communication channel. The old admiral was aboard the flagship TDF Resolution, having insisted on being present for the final confrontation. But Jake Miller was no longer the human that Zexathara remembered. 50 years of preparation had changed Jake just as much as it had changed the rest of humanity, though in a different way. Jake had chosen to undergo a different kind of transformation. Rather than genetic or cybernetic enhancement, he had volunteered for consciousness uploading, a process that preserved his mind in a hybrid biological digital form while giving him capabilities far beyond normal human limitations. "Hello, old friend," Jake said as his image appeared on Zexathara's view screen. The alien commander was shocked to see that Jake looked exactly the same as he had 50 years ago, but his eyes held knowledge and power that seemed infinite. "You should be dead," Zexathara snarled. "Humans don't live that long." "I'm not limited by biology anymore," Jake replied calmly. "When you threatened my species, I decided to make sure I would be around to see you dealt with personally." Jake's consciousness existed in multiple forms simultaneously. His original biological brain preserved in a life support system, quantum computer networks that expanded his thinking capacity beyond measure, and synthetic bodies that allowed him to interact with the physical world when necessary. "What have you become?" Zexathera asked, fear creeping into his voice for the first time. "I became what I needed to become to protect my people," Jake answered. "Just like all of us did. Around the dead Vorthak homeworld, enhanced human ships took positions in a perfect sphere. There would be no escape this time." Lisa Miller coordinated the encirclement through her neural implants while simultaneously analyzing the debris field for any useful intelligence. "Dad, I'm reading massive power signatures from the planet's core," Lisa reported. "Whatever destroyed this world left something behind." Jake's expanded consciousness processed the sensor data instantly. "It's a weapon, probably the same one that destroyed the Vorthak Empire. Zexathara, what did you people wake up out there in the dark?" For a moment, Zexathara's anger was replaced by something approaching despair. "We found ruins on a dead world in the galactic core. Ancient technology from a species that called themselves the Harbingers. My scientists thought they could control it. And instead it controlled you," Jake observed. "That's why you're really here, isn't it? You're not just seeking revenge, you're looking for somewhere to hide." Zexathara's forearms trembled with rage and fear. "My empire spanned 10,000 worlds. We ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years. And now we're extinct because my scientists were too arrogant to leave ancient weapons alone." The conversation was being monitored by enhanced humans throughout the fleet. Dr. Amy Foster, connected to the network from Earth, processed the implications immediately. "If there's a force out there that can destroy entire empires, we need to know everything about it," Amy transmitted through the network. "This changes our entire strategic situation." But Jake had already decided how this confrontation would end. His expanded consciousness had considered thousands of possible outcomes, and their consequences for humanity's future. "Zexathara, I'm going to give you a choice," Jake said, his synthesized voice carrying absolute authority. "You can surrender your fleet and share everything you know about this ancient enemy, or you can die here among the ruins of your empire. You would spare me?" Zexathera asked, suspicion clear in his voice. "After everything I've done?" "I would transform you," Jake replied. "The same way we transformed ourselves. Enhanced humans don't waste resources on revenge when those resources could be used to protect the innocent." Marcus Webb, listening through the network, sent a private message to Jake. "Are you sure about this? He tried to commit genocide against our entire species." Jake's response flowed through the network to all connected minds. "Enhanced humans are defined by our ability to choose evolution over destruction. If we kill him out of hatred, we become what we were trying to avoid becoming." Kate Adams, whose genetic modifications allowed her to sense emotional states across great distances, detected something unexpected in Zexathara's bio-readings. "He's not just afraid," she reported. "He's curious about what we've become." Steve Park, using his enhanced vision to analyze the alien ships, provided additional intelligence. "Their technology is incredibly advanced, but it's also stagnant. They haven't innovated in thousands of years. They might actually benefit from human enhancement techniques." Ryan Cooper, his cybernetic consciousness distributed across multiple fighter squadrons, observed the tactical situation with perfect clarity. "His fleet is completely surrounded, but they're not preparing to fight. I think he's actually considering surrender." Zexathara looked around his bridge at the crew members who had followed him across the galaxy. These were the last survivors of a civilization that had once ruled the stars. They were exhausted, defeated, and facing an enemy that seemed capable of anything. "If I surrender," Zexthera said slowly, "what guarantee do I have that you won't? Simply execute us all?" Jake's answer was simple and profound. "Enhanced humans don't execute prisoners. We integrate them. Your knowledge, combined with our adaptive capabilities, could help us prepare for whatever destroyed your empire." Integration? Zexthera was confused. "What does that mean?" Lisa Miller provided the explanation through the communication channel. "It means genetic and cybernetic enhancement. It means joining the neural network that connects all enhanced humans. It means becoming part of something larger than yourself while retaining your individual identity." "You would make us like you." The alien commander was clearly struggling to understand the concept. "We would give you the choice to evolve," Jake corrected. "The same choice we gave ourselves when we realized that our natural limitations would get us killed." Carla Santos, monitoring alien communications through the network, detected something significant. "The remaining Vorthak ships are discussing surrender among themselves. They're tired of running." Nick Hayes, leading the fighter squadrons that surrounded the alien fleet, observed changes in their formation. "They're powering down weapons and shields. I think they're actually going to do it." Sam Brooks, using his enhanced tracking abilities, confirmed that no alien ships were attempting to escape. "All vessels are holding position. No evasive maneuvers detected." The moment stretched across space and time as two civilizations faced a choice that would determine their future. One was an ancient empire reduced to refugees, the other a young species that had evolved beyond its natural limitations in the span of 50 years. "Very well," Zexthera said finally, his voice carrying the weight of a decision that would change everything. "I surrender my fleet to humanity. But I want to understand what you've become, how you did it, and whether my people can truly find a place among you." Jake's consciousness expanded across the entire human fleet as he processed this historic moment. The alien who had once threatened to destroy humanity was now asking to join them. "Welcome to the next stage of evolution, Zexthera," Jake said. "It's going to be a very interesting journey." As the Vorthak ships powered down completely and prepared to be taken into custody, enhanced humans throughout the fleet began planning for a future none of them had imagined. They would need to learn everything about the ancient enemy that had destroyed the Vorthak Empire, but they would do it with new allies who brought knowledge spanning thousands of years. The confrontation was over, but the real work was just beginning. Humanity had gained not just victory, but the opportunity to prove that evolution and integration were more powerful than conquest and destruction. In the ruins of the Vorthak homeworld, two species began the process of becoming something new, together. Ancient enemy doesn't notice us, or we can prepare to face it directly. The decision, when it came, was unanimous among both enhanced humans and integrated aliens. They would not hide. They would not limit their evolution out of fear. Instead, they would become something that even the ancient enemy had never encountered before. Nick Hayes, leading the largest fleet in human history, began preparations for an expedition to the galactic core. If this ancient enemy is a cosmic force that resets civilization, then maybe it's time someone reset the ancient enemy instead. Sam Brooks, using his enhanced tracking abilities to map the energy patterns that pervaded the galaxy, discovered something that changed everything about their understanding of the situation. "The ancient enemy isn't just one entity," Sam reported to the collective consciousness. It's a network, billions of connected intelligences spread across multiple galaxies, and according to these energy readings, it's already aware of us. As enhanced humanity prepared for a confrontation that would determine the fate of all life in the galaxy. They reflected on how far they had come from the primitive species that had first encountered Zexthara 55 years ago. They were no longer human in any biological sense. They were something new, a form of life that could adapt to any environment, survive any threat, and evolve beyond any limitation. They had become beings of pure will and intellect, capable of reshaping reality itself according to their needs. But, perhaps most importantly, they had learned to extend the gift of transformation to others. The galaxy now contained dozens of species that had chosen to evolve beyond their natural limitations, creating a vast network of enhanced beings working together toward common goals. "We've become gardeners of evolution," Lisa Miller observed, as she looked out at the stars from her distributed consciousness. "We plant the seeds of transformation and help them grow into whatever they're capable of becoming." Jake Miller, reflecting on the journey from his expanded quantum consciousness, added his own perspective. "We proved that evolution doesn't have to be about survival of the fittest. It can be about cooperation of the wisest." As the enhanced fleet prepared to depart for the galactic core, representatives from 100 different species gathered to wish them success. Each species had been offered the choice of transformation, and each had chosen its own path forward. Some had become beings of pure energy. Others had merged with their technology to become living machines. Still others had enhanced their natural abilities while maintaining their original forms. But all of them shared one common trait. They had chosen evolution over stagnation, growth over limitation, and cooperation over conflict. "Whatever we find at the galactic core," Zexthara said as he prepared to join the expedition, "we face it together. That may be the most human thing of all, the ability to transform enemies into allies and differences into strengths." The enhanced fleet departed for the galactic core, knowing that they carried the hopes and dreams of countless species. They were no longer just defending Earth or humanity. They were defending the right of all life to evolve, to grow, and to choose its own destiny. Behind them, they left a galaxy that was changing every day as more species discovered the possibilities that enhanced. 5 years had passed since Zexthara's surrender, and the galaxy was no longer the same place it had been. Admiral Lisa Miller stood on the observation deck of Armstrong Station, looking out at Earth, but her consciousness was simultaneously present on dozens of ships and stations throughout human space. Lisa existed now as a distributed intelligence across multiple bodies and computer systems. Her original biological form was preserved in a life support chamber, but her mind had expanded to encompass capabilities that would have been impossible for a single human brain to contain. "The integration is proceeding faster than we anticipated," Dr. Amy Foster reported through the Enhanced Human Network. Amy herself had undergone similar expansion, her consciousness now enhanced beyond individual limitations while retaining her essential personality. The process of integrating Vorthak survivors with enhanced humanity had produced unexpected results. Many aliens had chosen to undergo genetic and cybernetic modifications similar to those that had transformed humans. But rather than simply copying human enhancements, they had created something entirely new. Zexthara himself had been among the first volunteers for the enhancement process. The proud alien commander who had once sought revenge against humanity now existed as a hybrid being that combined Vorthak biological knowledge with human adaptive technology. "The transformation has been enlightening," Zexathera told Jake Miller during one of their regular conversations. The alien's 4 arms now incorporated cybernetic enhancements that allowed him to interface directly with both human and Vorthak technology systems. Jake, his consciousness preserved in quantum. Computer networks found he enjoyed these discussions. Do you regret your decision to surrender? Regret? Zexathara considered the question carefully. I regret the destruction of my empire and the deaths of billions of my people, but I do not regret joining humanity in its evolution. We have become something greater than either species was alone. The integration had not been without challenges. Some enhanced humans worried that they were losing their essential humanity in the pursuit of ever greater capabilities. Others questioned whether they had the right to transform other species according to their own vision of evolution. Ben Clark, one of the few humans who had chosen to remain completely unenhanced, served as a crucial voice of conscience for the expanded human civilization. We've gained incredible abilities, Ben told the Terran Council during one of their meetings, but we need to remember that power comes with responsibility. We're not just changing ourselves anymore. We're changing the fundamental nature of life in the galaxy. Kate Adams, whose genetic modifications had evolved even further in the past 5 years, could now exist in almost any environment imaginable. She had become humanity's primary explorer of hostile worlds and dangerous phenomena. Every new world we visit teaches us something about the possibilities of life, Kate reported from her latest mission to a planet with a methane atmosphere. But we're also learning that not every species wants to evolve the way we have. This was becoming an important consideration as enhanced humanity encountered other civilizations throughout the galaxy. Some species welcomed the opportunity for enhancement and integration. Others viewed human transformation abilities as a threat to their natural way of life. Marcus Webb, his enhanced strength now amplified by cybernetic systems that made him capable of moving mountains, led diplomatic missions to species that were suspicious of human intentions. We're not trying to force evolution on anyone, Marcus explained to a council of crystalline beings who communicated through harmonic vibrations. We're offering choices that didn't exist before. Every species has the right to choose its own path. But the most pressing concern was the ancient enemy that had destroyed the Vorthak Empire. Enhanced humans and integrated Vorthak had been studying the ruins of the alien homeworld for years, trying to understand the nature of the threat that lurked somewhere in the galactic core. Steve Park, his enhanced vision now capable of seeing across multiple dimensions of space-time, had detected energy patterns that suggested the ancient enemy was not just a weapon, but a form of life that consumed entire civilizations. It's not malevolent in any way we can understand, Steve reported to the research team studying the phenomenon. It's more like a natural force, a cosmic process that resets galactic civilization every few million years. Ryan Cooper, his consciousness, now distributed across an entire fleet of exploration vessels, led missions to investigate ancient ruins throughout the galaxy. What they found was disturbing, evidence of dozens of advanced civilizations that had been completely erased from existence. The pattern is always the same, Ryan reported through the network. Civilizations develop advanced technology, expand across multiple star systems, and then suddenly vanish without a trace. The only thing left behind is the same energy signature we found on the Vorthak homeworld. Dr. Amy Foster, working with integrated Vorthak scientists, had developed a theory about the ancient enemy that both fascinated and terrified the enhanced human community. We think it's a form of collective consciousness that exists across multiple galaxies, Amy explained. to Jake during one of their research sessions. When local civilizations reach a certain level of development, this entity awakens and resets everything. Resets for what purpose? Jake asked, his expanded consciousness analyzing thousands of variables simultaneously. That's what we're trying to figure out. But based on the evidence, we think the process has been going on for billions of years. The ancient enemy might be maintaining the galaxy for something, or someone, else. This discovery had profound implications for enhanced humanity's future. If they continued to evolve and expand at their current rate, they would inevitably attract the attention of the force that had destroyed the Vorthak Empire and countless other civilizations. Carla Santos, her neural implants now connecting her to enhanced beings across multiple star systems, coordinated the response to this threat through pure thought. "We have two choices," she told the expanded human collective. "We can try to hide our development and hope the EA